So, hi, Emily. Welcome to Comfort Zone Podcast. I'm Sereena Alnor, your host, everybody. Welcome to this podcast. We share information and insight to topics relating to personal development, spirituality, progress, motivation, and I love the types of guests that I'm having on the show recently because you guys are so knowledgeable. Listen, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share because it creates awareness for other people to join as well, and just helps me out with creating my show. We're going to be speaking to Emily Hill today.
Hi.
I'll let Emily introduce herself in a moment. And what we're going to be doing is looking at 3 simple steps to removing negative thoughts and behavior. It's a highly sought after question that I've been asked in my groups in different ways, but I just narrowed it down to this is what they're asking. You know, they just want simple steps to be able to control their thoughts and their behavior. So, Emily, you are welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi. So I'm Emily Hill and I'm an energy activator. I work with the people that come here to change the world. So I'm all about activating new frequencies, new energies within your body, releasing all the bullshit, and also taking aligned action so you actually get results. What I found is that a lot of energy workers do all the inner stuff, the inner game, but actually we've got to move, we've got to take action as we're aligning our energy. So that's me. I love working with people in that way because, you know, we're here. It's like an important time in this, like the Earth's evolution, in my belief, and it's time for people to rise up. So, yeah.
So tell us a bit about your background in terms of what was it that was the turning point for you to taking this type of topic and research important?
Well, I'd love to say I had this big story and, something dramatic happened, but actually that's not the case at all. But when my daughter was born, something about giving birth and having this child, it just really started making me questioning, what is life? What are we here for? And that's when I really started my spiritual journey. There was nothing dramatic at all. And I came from a sales and business background, had my own business since I was 21. So I've always been in a kind of environment like entrepreneurship and that type of thing. And so, yeah, I just had this I can't even think of the word, this just awakening that just, I thought there's got to be more. And it was a bit of a when you're just questioning absolutely everything. And I'm a bookworm. We like to read, don't we? So, I started reading and then I just spiraled. But anything that I do, I always go full in on. So as soon as I started learning about it, I think it was about a year after when I started a business, helping people to create the lives that they want, using that within business, really connecting the sales side of it and the business side of it with energy, with vibration, with mindset. And that's how I really started on that journey. And I literally never stopped since. It's my obsession. Live, breathe, and eat it.
So it's interesting that you said your awakening into this topic and line of work was awakened by the birth of your daughter. And obviously we know that the girls usually relates to the feminine energy. So it's almost as though what you're saying is your interest in the topic was provoked for you to research that feminine energy even more. What also interests me, or what I find interesting, is the fact that when you and I first met, you was doing a lot of work around femininity, and it was for your projects and workshops and stuff was very much designed to support women to awaken the goddess in them And I remember one particular project was manifest like a goddess.
Yeah.
So that is so aligned to what you just said. Can you give us a bit more insight into, ways that you personally, or, the ways that you inspire the people that work with you to remove negative habits or handle them?
Yeah, I mean, this is such a juicy topic. Like, it's so juicy. But we're human at the end of the day, aren't we? So
Yes.
we all have. I'm really sorry. My phone, I didn't put it on no disturb, and I'm on my phone on Zoom. So if you hear a beep, I really do apologise. Um, um, everyone has negative thoughts. We're human. We are not here to be perfection and to always feel love and light and just be like perfect and never have negative thoughts. And I actually think that our negative thoughts, they're not even negative, they're just feedback. And I think this is the key, is that we place a lot of meaning onto things where actually it's neutral. There's a lot of things that are very, very neutral, but we place meaning to it, which then gives us negative thoughts. So a situation could happen and you could say, okay, well, this must mean I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, or that person's this. And we attach all these different meanings to it, which actually creates those like negative, low frequency thoughts. And actually, if we look at things more, subjectively, objectively, I always get those two mixed up, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. If we look at things more objectively.
Yeah. And then you can stop putting like these negative thoughts onto situations where actually it's just feedback and learning. And I think that's really, really key. And another thing that I think is so, so important is not to try and push these thoughts away. What so many people do, no, I can't think that. Say, for example, they're trying to manifest something and they've been told to manifest, you've got to think in alignment, you've got to feel in alignment, which is true. We want our feelings, our thoughts, and our actions to be in alignment with what it is that we want to create. However, pushing those thoughts away and just pretending they don't exist, they just stay in our psyche, they just stay in our being. And so one tip that I would give people is when you feel these thoughts coming up, write them down. I will literally get my journal and write down, this is shit, I'm no good, I'm crap, I'm not worth it, oh my God. Like, I will literally let all of those real thoughts come out, even if they are really low frequency and negative and critical. I will literally, it's like you've kind of got that critical part of you that wants to speak and you're trying to shut her up. But actually, the more you try and shut her up, the more that she's in the background silently, like giving you all this negative energy. And so writing all your thoughts down, even if they are really, probably you wouldn't probably say it to a person, but you say it about yourself, write it all down. Write it all down. We don't want to stay there. We don't want to constantly feed them and think about them, but write them all down. And then you can release them. If you write them on paper, you want to burn it, put it in the freezer, whatever. I just personally just choose then just to release and let that go. And then I tune into my higher self. Okay, what is the truth about that? Well, actually, of course, that I'm worthy and deserving of this. Of course, I'm good enough. Of course, I'm capable to create that. And then I'll just go into the flow of those higher frequency thoughts.
Yeah.
But we've released them rather than pushed them away. So that is that's what I do pretty much most days, because you'll find there'll be some negative thoughts in there somewhere. They're going to be there from our experiences and past and beliefs.
So, one, don't give them meaning.
Yes.
2, unclutch, like let go,
release, and actually bring them to the surface and the light to be released. Because without awareness, then we can't grow and evolve. And so the awareness will also give you clues. Well, actually, what are my beliefs? Because a belief is just a thought that you've given loads of airtime to, and you've thought it a lot, or give a lot of energy to, or a traumatic event has given it energy. And so by actually observing our thoughts, however horrible and negative and dark, because some of the stuff that comes out will actually be, it's not nice, it's icky, murky, heavy, dense energy. When we release it, we can then fill ourselves in with light.
So would you say that the negative thoughts are actually the story that we're telling ourselves? So, for example, what if you was thinking the fact that what makes it negative is the actual story that we're telling ourselves? Is that what makes it
Yeah.
negative?
Yeah, it's the storytelling ourselves, the energy that we give to it,
Mm-hmm.
because a thought in itself is just a thought, but when we give energy to it, we give, so say for example something happens and you just don't think that you are good enough, you're in business, and every time you're putting some content out there, you just have this thought, it's not good enough, I'm not enough, and you keep having this thought. Well, if you're putting energy into that, there could be a story linked to that, or it could just be, and it could be emotion as well, so it could be a story attached to it, which is the meaning that we're giving to it. But actually it's the energy, and we all have limiting beliefs, and I don't actually believe in clearing them,
Okay.
because if you try to clear all of your limiting beliefs, you just spend your whole life doing that job. It would be a full-time job, because your ego is always going to try and keep you safe and small. It will always say, oh well, that's not safe, let's keep you protected. And so giving you these false thoughts of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not capable, so many different beliefs that people might have. And so that our ego is going to keep us safe and small. So you'll always get them. They'll always pop up, whatever level. What I've found is that it doesn't matter whatever level people are at, the thoughts will come up. I still get the stuff come up. I'm not good enough.
Yeah, so do
That's
I.
been a big one. And I've cleared it so many times, because I used to believe in clear the beliefs, clear the beliefs. Now I believe in observing them, being aware of them, and then choosing, well, do I tune into this belief and operate from this belief and behave as if this belief is true, or do I tune into my higher self and know that I am inherently worthy? Just because I exist, I'm completely good enough and worthy, and operate from that. So I believe that if we choose where we want to operate from, we don't need to clear it. We just need to be aware of when we're operating from that, and when it's coming through, listen to it, and then choose to tune into our higher energy, our higher self, and act from that point.
So do you think that choice is the transformation process where we transform the negative thoughts or the neuro-linguistic kind of pathway, change that? Is it the choice to change that pathway into something that's more positive by kind of embracing it?
Yeah, and it is a choice. I'm like, that's like, your thoughts are a choice, but you can only choose when you're aware. You
Yeah,
can't choose
yeah,
something
true.
different if you don't know it exists, do you? So choice, I feel like that is a great way to put it, is the transformation
Yeah.
point, because we get to choose, do we stay there or do we shift and move through it? And it 100% is a choice. Now, when
Mm-hmm.
we're feeling a lot of emotion around it and a lot of energy around it, sometimes it's not easy to choose. Sometimes if we're in the moment and something's happening and there are emotions that are clouding that, actually, sometimes it's not easy. This work is simple, but it's not always easy. And I feel like that's why I do a lot of work about vibrating higher and shifting the way that you feel within your body, within yourself, so that actually you can be in a more like higher state to be able to choose the thoughts. From then, when you're choosing the thoughts, you'll be able to choose the behaviors, because it's always the actions that actually create the results, and it all links one into the other.
So what part about it is not easy though?
It's not easy, because we're human beings and we're very complex, and there can be all different things going on. You can have, if you're neurodiverse like I am, you might have sensory issues, you might have your mind works in a different way to neurotypical, you might have trauma and experiences still stuck in the body. Someone might be there as well, adding their energy and emotions into the mix, and we're complex. And sometimes it's really about kind of shifting through and looking at things more, calmly. I mean, I know that for me, I can, and I've done a lot of work on it, and I'm a lot better. But
Yeah,
still, it's my nature to get, well, you know me.
yeah, yeah.
Like, as you're very calm and really good at dealing stuff like that, I can react, and it can take me a little minute just to be like, okay, let me just ground, let me just like decompact. Is that the word? Let me. Oh, there's a word and I can't think of it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and like let me just look at all the different layers. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it's not easy. We are humans, so we do have an ego, which we need an ego. Like that is an important part of us to be able to show us like the way that the world works and to orientate us to move forward. But it's a tricky little one, isn't it? Like always in the background. So I do think that it's simple, but not always easy. We are human and we have human experiences, emotions, feelings. And so it's just really when you can come to that place, a grounded, calm place, when you can raise your energy. Like for me, I'll have a sleep if I'm feeling, oh, then my thoughts, I will have a nap. Like that's like have a nap. I'll meditate.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go to the gym, do something that gets me out of it, and then I can sit down. Okay, what are the thoughts? Or I'll do the journaling process, and I'll just get all the thoughts out. And as soon as you've accepted them, wrote them down, you can release them, and then you're like, okay, well, that's ridiculous. Why on earth was I thinking that? That's a load of bullshit. So, can I swear on your podcast?
Yeah, of course.
just checking. But then, like you're like, why on earth would I think that? Well, that's stupid and ridiculous. But then you can kind of be the observer rather than the one actually experiencing it.
So for me, I I can see that I find it easier than others to be self-aware because, like you said, I've done so much work on myself, and there's a lot of difficult things that I've had to admit about myself and my character. So therefore, in comparison to other people, I find it easier. However, in terms of like, regardless what level you're at, the ego's the ego. And it's always difficult to see yourself the deeper you go. So it's almost like the deeper you go, the more you have to look at yourself and be in a space of acceptance and be willing to change that. But what kind of makes it easier for me is that I've noticed that I always have an aim and a goal. So what makes me relaxed into facing my ego is the fact that I want that thing at the end of it. So, for example, I might want to be able to improve my memory because it's not always attached to material things. And I think sometimes people get confused with that.
I was talking about that on my podcast today. Exactly that.
Really?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So just to finish, what makes it easier for me is remembering that there's something either extrinsic or intrinsic that I want to achieve. So then, therefore, the ego seems small to the thing that I'm trying to aim for.
Yeah, 100. Do you know what, though? That is so key because our desire is the thing that moves us forward. And so for me, it's like, if you do not have a desire, and like you said, and I was talking about this on my podcast about, it doesn't have to be a material desire, although it can be. There's nothing, we live in a 3D world, absolutely fine with that. But when we've got a desire, we've got somewhere to head for. But what a lot of people do is that they don't know what they want. They don't know where where they're going. And it's like getting in your car, putting on your sat nav, but you can't put your postcode in because you don't know where you're going. So then you can't move forward. So desire, knowing what you want on a soul level rather than just like an ego level is so key because it will keep you going when you feel like shit, when you feel like, oh my God, is this going to happen? But you can plug into that, can't you? And it just keeps that drive and that energy going.
And I think sometimes people just be trying to do the work without having a destination.
Yeah. And that is to me like getting in your car driving around, but you don't know where you're going.
That's intimidating. It's intimidating. It's not pleasant. You're just lost and confused then. And I think, like you said, it's key. What's your podcast called again, Em?
It's called Fully Unleashed. So if you search Fully Unleashed in Apple, Spotify, all the usual ones, or you can go to my website, emilyjanehill.com, and all the episodes are on there. But I do definitely think that desire, like it's a key piece. That, like you said, people are doing the inner work, but then you're not tuning in. When I work with clients, it'll be always, well, what do you want? What do you want? How do you want to feel? Like, how do you want to experience this world? And from there, you can actually notice when your ego comes up, your negative thoughts. And actually, it's the negative thoughts that will help you create what you want, because it's showing you where you don't believe when that you can have what you want. When you don't believe, you don't take the action, or you take the action, you don't get results. So we want to welcome these thoughts in and be like really aware of them, and use them as a feedback, and use them as juice to create what you want.
That's awesome. I know you're writing a book at the moment.
Well, that's on hold at the moment. Yeah, well, you know me, so you know that, some things I'm on and other things just take a little bit longer too. But I am writing a book at the moment, and it will get released at some point. Just took a little bit of a back burner whilst I did some other projects. But yeah, that book is a book of reminders, because I think that these little reminders. Okay, so for example, me and you have been doing this work a long time.
Yeah.
But do you ever read something in a book, hear something somewhere? You've heard it a million times. You might even say it to other people, but it's what you needed to hear in that moment to remind you of who you are, the power that you have, what you came here to do. You've heard it a million times. It's not like it's new information, but you're like, yes. And so I wanted to write a book that people could actually just flick through and go, oh, that's what I needed to hear today. Remind them of how fucking powerful and amazing that they are.
I love that. And I mean, when you and I speak, you are that side of me, because I believe that everyone's mirrors. And sometimes you're not going to like what you see, and sometimes you are going to like what you see. And I think over the years, I've very much aimed to have mirrors, as in people around me who represent good sides of me, not sides that are going to, put me in the comfort zone of my ego, but those that push me to reflect as well. And you're one of those people who, remind me of my greatness, but still through reflection. So I still have to do, the difficult bit, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, the same. It's like we are like very similar in a lot of ways, but then also like very different in a good way. It's like you're my go-to person, and I'm like, and then my neurodiverse brain is like, oh, and then you're
and
like,
maybe
okay,
you're, and
after
maybe
2 minutes, I'm calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're mine when I need to gas up. Yeah.
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 A little yin and yang going on, but also
That's
very
true.
similar in a lot of ways, which is good. That's what it's all about, isn't it? About surrounding yourself with people that uplift you and expand you.
So realize the story.
Mm-hmm.
Have the awareness. No, yes, realize the story that you're telling yourself. Have the awareness and let go.
Let go. And also, I want to share this really quick I use it all the time. I use it with the kids, just like with my clients, with myself. And it's really, really simple. You probably heard it before, but I just think it's so useful, because when we have these thoughts, it's like, what if? Oh my God, well, what if this? What if going back to the business thing, what if this launch doesn't work? What if nobody wants it? Mm-hmm. What if then I don't have any money this month? What if I can't pay my bills? What if I end up homeless? And you basically go down this massive spiral. And I just think it's so easy to play a game of what if, but up. Like, well, what if it did work? What if people did buy? What if money coming from a different place? What if, this great opportunity that I've never even thought of happens? And then just keep saying, well, what if? And start being playful and curious, because I think that's key in this work as well. When we do the work with releasing, it can feel a bit heavy, even though as you release it, it feels a lot better. But actually getting curious, well, that's interesting that I've got these thoughts. That's interesting that I just thought that, rather than going, oh my God, I just thought that, I'm really negative. Now I'm going to be manifesting bullshit and la la la. You just be playful and curious with your thoughts, and just be like, oh, okay, that's interesting when a thought pops up, rather than attaching all this meaning, and just play the what if up game. Well, what if this? What if that? And then because through universal law of vibration, law of attraction, we will literally like attract a higher feeling thought. a higher feeling thought, a better feeling thought, a higher feeling thought, and go up that
Yeah.
spiral. And that's one of the ways, simple way just to lift yourself if you can see yourself going down that little bit of a rabbit hole.
It's funny that you say that because recently, um, I was doing some work on myself, and when you're working on yourself, it starts to drain your energy because
Mm.
you need to move forward to get this new energy. But because humans we are about progression, we do evolve. We're born, and it's a constant growth, mentally, physically, emotionally, because we're becoming more and more aware. Um, so I do appreciate that even in my adulthood, it doesn't stop.
Can I
And
just say a point about that quickly before I forget?
Mhm.
Because I did want to say this earlier, but I nearly forgot. So sorry to cut you there. But what I spoke about earlier again today is that actually the higher you go, the more you have to maintain it, because when you drop, you've got a higher way to drop. And that is key. You brought that up twice. I think that's such a good point to make, that actually the more you do the work, the more you've got to keep doing the work, because your vibration is faster. And if you don't, you will plummet faster than if you was like, imagine a bird flying high in the sky. Imagine a bird flying high in the sky and then they drop to the floor. They got a long way. But if you're a slug moving slow, like really like low and, like a slug, more low frequency and
Yeah,
slower, they've got nowhere to go. So this work, once you do it, you kind of have to keep doing it, don't you? Mm.
I'm trying to find. I've made a list of things that keep me in a high vibration. Uh, and that's why I was looking at my phone because I was trying to find it. Oh yeah. So I was trying to, yeah. So when I was going through this point where I was trying to get to a certain vibration and I couldn't, I had to battle with my ego as usual. See the story that I'm telling myself, come to the awareness, and then let it go. But while I'm waiting for that process to happen, like you said, it's a bit more difficult the higher up you go. Um, I wrote down some things that support me to stay in a high vibration and not fall too low. And I'll tell you three of them. Appreciate, move, and connect.
Love that.
So it's kind of like you experience, like, I wouldn't say depression, but you would call it depression, where you're kind of closing off from the world. You're slowing down, like you said, you're not doing much because your focus is on trying to battle with this thing that's going on inside in order to get to this next level. So I consciously make sure that I'm communicating with others, connecting with the right sides of myself. They're not going to drain me. Move around. And obviously, I guess depression looks like staying in bed. So it's not that for me, but move around in terms of take walks, like consciously go for a walk, consciously go for a run, consciously put the music on and dance, and appreciate. And I found the appreciating one very profound because what it did is kind of assisted me with letting go. And I tell you why, because every little thing I orientated to myself to the things that were happening, good things that were happening, and I appreciated them consciously. So, for example, if my daughter said, thank you, I would consciously appreciate that and breathe it in. If anything, just something small happened, someone smiled at me when I went to the shop and my moving um, point, I'd consciously appreciate it. And all those things I feel like helped me to get to that breakthrough quicker.
The
Yeah.
small things, isn't it? And the thing of appreciation is that, and I guess I keep saying, but I recorded this on my podcast as well. Everything you keep saying, see, this is our mirroring, because everything you're saying, I'm like, yeah, I've just literally been speaking about that.
And it's
And
because
not
we're
that I've released
tribe,
it
it's the
yet.
same tribe. We're going to be having the same,
Yeah, which I love.
so then you're not weird. You're not
Well, I'm
experienced.
a little bit weird, but like I like
Well,
weird.
we are what we're collective. We're collectively weird, aren't we?
Exactly.
Better to
But
be
you
weird
can't,
collectively than on your
you
own.
can't, yeah, exactly. But you literally, it's impossible to vibrate lack when you vibrate appreciation. And when you're in gratitude appreciation, you can't be vibrating lack. So it just keeps you in that energy of abundance. And I think, and you know what? I think it's something that people say, oh, be grateful, gratitude, appreciation, but actually it's so, so, so powerful.
It is,
Because you can only be in abundance when you're appreciating only. And the more you're in abundance, the more that you're going to create abundance in your experience. So, I think these simple things are just so, so important. But I think what you hit on, which is really important, is conscious, just being constantly aware, isn't it, of what is going on.
and tuning into the positivity more.
Yes,
Because
100%.
the negativity, in some ways, has very strong energy, and the positivity, we kind of like just let it pass. It's not so magnetic. Like, it's
Mm.
like you literally have to tap into it to be conscious of it. Whereas the negative, it's just like there, it's in your face.
I think it's the world, like, and the people that we surround, because, say, like, with us, because we've done this work for a long time. I mean, it's like I just get so happy over the most silly things, and the kids are like, well, I was like, oh, listen to that bird. Oh my God, it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
so
yeah. Me
beautiful. And
too.
the kids are like, God, mom, but I'm like, those little things, I'm just walking around like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love this. And but I feel like a lot of people are trained to, like you said, tune out the positive stuff and just focus. They're like a good moan, don't they?
Hmm. So someone's messaged me while we've been on here and asked me to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, hi, Emily. I follow your podcast and your Instagram. I just want to say thank you and keep up the good works. I've learned so much
Oh,
from you. And the question is, what keeps you motivated?
okay. So thank you, first of all, for that lovely comment. What keeps me motivated is my desire. I am here to help change this world. I'm here to live the most abundant, rich, expansive, juicy, exciting, adventurous life. That's what keeps me motivated. And every day, I've got certain things, certain areas of life where, like, relationship wise, I'd love to meet my soulmate husband. That keeps me motivated. Keeps me motivated to go to the gym. No. But like my health, business, like financially, adventures, and so I tune into each one of those choices multiple times a day, and that's what keeps me motivated. If I ever feel a bit unmotivated, it's because I haven't tuned in and remembered who I am, what I'm here to create, and got excited. As soon as I get excited about those, and obviously we have days sometimes where it's more chilled, and we haven't got to be up and full of energy all of the time. We do have ebbs and flows, but my desires keep me motivated 100%, because I want to create even more amazing shit in my life. Like, I want it to be even more amazing than it already is.
Both intrinsically and extrinsically.
Yes, 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 yes.
And on that note, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show and sharing your beautiful, wonderful energy with us. And I'm sending you constantly, always sending you love and hugs and blessings.
Right back at you.
So
Thank
if
you so much
anyone,
for having me. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much.
oh, I really love having you on. Um,
And you'll be on mine soon as well.
oh yes,
So
yes,
yeah.
yeah. I can't wait. I'm excited. Um, so again, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and check out Emily's Instagram, and you're on Facebook as well.
Yeah, Instagram is at this is Emily Hill. So that's probably the best place to find me. This is Emily Hill on Instagram. And I've got all my links to all the different things. I've got a free course out at the moment called Vibrate Higher, a free 10-day audio course. So definitely go and check that out. You
Is
find
the
it on
link in your
Instagram.
bio?
It is, yes.
Okay, awesome. So thank you everyone for watching, and stay blessed. Oh, bless.